Good evening, this is CloudChartist with your daily wrap-up for the grain market and ES and crude on August 7th, 2015. So we're going to start off with the ES. Today the ES lost the Kijun-sen support here, we can see, under the cloud, and sold down to the low of 2062 and then put in a relatively strong bounce, encompassing over half of the candle back to 10 points, back to 2072.50. Overall, the chart is still bearish. We do see that the Chicow, the red line representing price time shifted 26 periods into the past, has found support at the top of this candle. I'm going to zoom in so you can see that closer. That you'll happen to notice is precisely at the level where we found support, or we closed at. This is significant. I go over this aspect of Ichimoku charting in as many of my videos as I can. The Chicow span is a very important element of Ichimoku. Some people take it off their charts completely, which I don't understand whatsoever, because it's super handy. Because whatever the Chicow span interacts with is relevant to current price. So, for instance, there's nothing in this area underneath current price. If you just see a sea of blue, you don't see any clouds underneath current price. You don't see any Kijun-sen, Tenkan-sen, any lines under there. So how do you know where price action is going to find support? Well, you can look for a few different things. You can look at different time frames, or you can look for horizontal support, meaning levels that price found support or resistance at previously. For instance, you could look at the low here and see that price found support at 2037.25 previously. These candles here was around 2039 level. This area, there's multiple candles finding support at 2054.50. Or you can look at where the Chicow is going and what it's going to interact with next. And since it was lined up with this particular candle, it was pretty obvious that it had two areas that it could find support at inside this candle. It could find support at the top of the candle, which was at 2077.50, or the candle close, which is 2054. I'm sorry, the candle close, which is 2071.75. So we closed at 2072.50, just slightly higher than 2071.75. I hope you understand. I hope that's clear to you. So what is going to happen next with the Chicow span is it's either going to lose support and we're going to go lower, or more likely it will bounce and it will either, so obviously the next daily candle it's going to be over here. So it'll either find support at the top of this candle, which is 2071.50, or it will find resistance at the cloud, which is 2083.50, or thereabouts, 2083. 2082.50, I can't tell exactly. Let's call it 2083.25. Then there's also the Tenkan-sen above here, where it could find resistance at the Chicow I'm talking about, of course. The Tenkan-sen and Kijun-sen are confluent at this 2084.50 area. So it could also find resistance. The current price could also find resistance there. And that's just only looking at the Kijun-sen. At the Chicow. The red line, the Chicow. It's also called the Chicow span. So if we go back to current price and we see what's ahead of us, we see that we found resistance at the Kijun-sen at 2080.25. So that will still be resistance on Monday or Sunday night when we open on Monday. Then we will also have resistance at the Tenkan-sen above at 2085.38. So let's call that 2085.50. The Tenkan-sen might open up in a different place also. When the new candle opens, we'll also have resistance at the cloud, which will not open in a different place. because this part of the cloud is already drawn and it's not changing. So the cloud is at 2084, let's say 2085, and then the top of the cloud, which is at 2090, 25, let's say, approximately. So we have all those areas of resistance ahead. But if we can get back over the 2090-50 area, then this chart changes from bearish, which it currently is, to bullish. So that's your mini Chicow lesson included with your ES analysis here on this daily video. All right, let's go to CL. And let's see, I will change it to the U5 contract to be more precise. So CL, this chart is completely bullish. We closed very close to the lows, just off the lows. The low was 43.70. We closed at 43.75, so just 5 cents off the low. There's nothing on this chart to suggest that price is going higher. As I've been saying all along, the Tenkan-sen is pointing down, the Kijun-sen is pointing down, the Chicow span is pointing down, the cloud is pointing down, price action is pointing down. We're still in a confirmed downtrend ever since we changed trend from this small uptrend to this downtrend, which has been rejected by the Tenkan-sen once, solidly ever since it was rejected from the Tenkan-sen all the way back at the end of July. Or let me see. Yeah, I mean, actually since the 24th, when it got back under the Tenkan-sen, because it just only tested it here, really. Hasn't even, I mean, there was a small test of it. It went over the Tenkan-sen slightly here. It violated the Tenkan-sen here, and then just a little bit on this candle, the 730 candle also. But so no sign of a bounce here. The only thing that could signal a bounce on crude daily is that we're oversold, but we have been oversold before, and we're not quite as oversold as we were the last time we got a bounce. So yeah, looking 100% bearish for crude here. All right, let's go to the grain markets. Corn. I might as well go to the Z5 because I have drawings on the Z5. So December corn, we see today we actually bounced over the Tenkan-sen. This is very significant. I said to be looking out for that possibility as a bullish sign. So let me get a little bit closer. So we put in a close over the Tenkan-sen, and we have basically clear space all the way up till we have this gap window, and then the cloud above. So where the candle was going to be located, the cloud above is at around 400 even, 401. So if we look back at the Chicow span, we can see clearly why price stopped going higher. The Chicow is squarely stuck at 384.25, which happens to be the level of the cloud right there. So, boom. You see once again how convenient that Chicow is. If you were trading this intraday, you could be looking at the daily cloud and seeing, ooh, this is a potential stopping point for corn here. If we do trade lower, we will have support once again at the top of this window, this gap area. And let's see where the top of that is. The top of that is at 381.75, and then we will have support at the actual Tenkan-sen, which is currently at 381.25. So if we trade below that 381.25 level, we can look for potential support back at this other gap window at 374.75. Should we go down that far, we will see the Chikou also be testing that level. And this isn't, gap windows are not as strong support and resistance as other elements of Ichimoku. I would say if we were going to rank the elements of Ichimoku as far as strength of support or resistance, then we could rank the Cloud as the strongest, the Tenkan-sen as the second strongest, the Kijin-sen as the third strongest, and then gap windows as the fourth. That might be a bit of an arbitrary distinction, but that's just what I've found. And there are nuances to that. Basically, depending on whether or not we have a bear cross Kijin-sen over Tenkan-sen, which is what we have here. The pink line is the Kijin-sen, blue line is the Tenkan-sen. We got a bear cross back at the end of June. I'm sorry, at the end of July on the 29th. We got the bear cross here on corn, and then it's been bear cross ever since, and the Tenkan-sen has been going lower, not bullish. But we'll see what happens with the Tenkan-sen and with price on corn and see where we can go to next. All right, let's go to soybeans. Soybeans are the X contract, I believe. All right. Soybeans had a really bullish day today. I was looking at that. I wasn't trading any grains today. I haven't been trading grains lately. I traded corn on the way down, but I haven't been trading the bounce. I want to see corn to get back above the cloud in order for myself to be interested in taking long trades, because I'm a short-term trader, and I'm not really interested in bottom picking. It's not in my best interest to try to take trades on charts that are in opposition of the trade I'm taking. For instance, I don't like to necessarily want to try to take bullish trades on a bearish chart, is what I'm getting at. So, regarding what's happened here today on soybeans, we traded, we put in a close. Let's see where this level is at. Ooh, I'm locked up. That's funny, at this time of day I must have been jiggling around too much. Well, let's go. Let me keep talking while I wait for this to unlock. And hopefully you can understand what I'm saying without the cursor moving around, because it's way up here. Anyway, so soybeans, looks like they found resistance at the top of this gap window, which is where this prior red candle found, there we go. This prior red candle found a close. So the closing price was 960.08, and the closing price was 963.32, and we closed at 963.75. So very close to the top of this gap window. And how cool is that, to have this gap window here? Because that was a level you could use. You use the bottom of the cloud, the bottom of the rectangle at 960, and the top of the rectangle at 963.35 or 32. So we also have the Chikou span came down and bounced off the cloud, as I suggested could possibly be the case in my prior video, and came up here, did not test the Chikou span yet. The Chikou span happens to be located at the same level as the underside of the cloud. So we could very well find resistance there, which is not that far away from where we are right now. It's only about $4 points. We also have resistance at the top of the cloud, which would be around 978.30, and then more resistance at the Kijin-sen up here at 985.63. The Chikou only has resistance at the Kijin-sen for now, and then not until the Tenkan-sen which is actually slightly above where current price is going to run into the Kijun-sen. So, but overall this chart is still bearish because we didn't make it over the cloud yet. So keep that in mind. And the cloud is rising, you know, and that's kind of bullish. So if we do make it over the cloud, you know, this could easily become a pretty nice bullish trade. But not until. But don't let me stop you from getting long if you like it, because I think, you know, chances are we'll challenge the cloud and maybe even challenge the top of the cloud and maybe even challenge the Kijun-sen. Or we could get rejected from the bottom of the cloud, you know, only time will tell. Or weather. So what did I not do yet? Wheat. Let's look at wheat. And wheat is U5, I think. So today we put in a spinning top type doji type candle. Didn't really make much of a move, only 3.5 points. It's pretty typical. Wheat hasn't been putting in very large moves anyway. But look where we stopped, right at the Chikou, finding the top of the cloud like magic. Have you noticed that this has happened in almost every chart that we've looked at in this video, that the Chikou has indicated where price action has stopped? Pretty cool, right? So anyway, this chart, as I mentioned in my last crude wrap video, is bearish and has a lot of work to do because of this configuration of the cloud. The cloud is very steep and has a lot of room between current price and resistance here. So the bottom of the cloud is at about 543.25, and then the the Kijun-sen is at 545.75, and then the top of the cloud is at 550.75. So we have those things to get through, and basically we have similar levels for the Chikou. It's possible, you know, we do have a flat Tenkan-sen here. It's possible if we do go lower that we can find support again at 502.25. Overall, this chart is bearish. Let's just look at coffee quickly. I did make a separate coffee video, so if you're into coffee, you might want to look at that, but I'll just go over that too here. And this is a teaser for the coffee video. You can find it on my Twitter feed or my Ticker TV page. So coffee put in a bullish candle today after bouncing off the Tenkan-sen and making progress over the Kijun-sen. But it did put in a topping tail here. Exactly where? Right where the Kijun-sen, I'm sorry, right where the Chikou span found resistance at this candle, just like all the other charts. So we're still bearish under the cloud. I heard some rumor about Brazil possibly releasing figures of lower than expected crops yield. So I can't verify that. I just heard it through the grapevine. So we'll see what happens to coffee on Sunday night and going forward in the next week. But overall, the chart is still bearish. We do have resistance for the Chikou, and we have resistance if the Chikou, if we do go higher, the Chikou is going to come into resistance at 131.93, and then we have the cloud resistance above at 132.68 or thereabouts. When I give these levels, you know, when I'm like moving my cursor over the cloud, you know, they're not exact levels. It's hard to really pinpoint the exact cloud because I am not zoomed in close enough to really see the exact level, and it's so far ahead you can, if we get close to there, you can always zoom in and figure out exactly where it is yourself. Alright, so that's going to be it. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being patient. I hope you learned something. I hope this was helpful, and we'll see you next week, and have a nice weekend.